Hey everybody, today we're going to check out the Jetboil Stash Stove Kit. It's a great choice for solo backpackers who are looking to save a little space in their kit and who are looking for a little more versatility than just being able to boil water. Let's see if it's the right choice for you. If you're new to the channel, my name's Ben and I'm part of the team here at the Adventure Junkies, where we help people like you choose the right gear to get outdoors. If you want to learn more, visit our website at www.theadventurejunkies.com. Now, let's check out what you're really here for, the Jetboil Stash Stove Kit. Alright, so this is the Jetboil Stash Stove Kit. Let's pull it out of the box and see what's inside. Alright, so this is the entire kit. It's really nice, it's small, and self-contained, which is really nice. So at first glance, it looks pretty similar to a lot of Jetboil's other products. One notable thing is this weighs in at just over 7 ounces, which is by far the lightest Jetboil product in their line. So included in the box, we have the pot, and let's see what's inside. So included in here is a mock fuel canister, just kind of to show you that it clips into the lid, which is really nice. Just kind of helps you keep everything organized when you're packing it back into your stove. So we're just gonna set this aside. Then we have instructions, the Jetboil fuel stabilizer, and then inside this protective stuff sack, we have the burner unit. Pretty small. So included in the kit, we have the main burner. This is the burner unit with 3 pot stand holders attached to it. You have a small protective stuff sack to keep your burner nice and safe when packed away. We have an impossibly light Jetboil pot here with collapsible handle. You can see it has Jetboil's flux ring on the bottom. This is common amongst all Jetboil products, and that's to make sure that it functions in high wind. And we are having a high wind day again here today, so it'll be fun to see, to go ahead and do a boil test. You also have Jetboil's fuel stabilizer that works on the smaller 100-gram canisters as well as the mid-size 230-gram canisters. And you also have a strainer lid for the top. So this is kind of new for Jetboil, doing something so lightweight and so small. It's designed in the USA, made in China, and again, the whole package, of course, the weight does not include the plastic. Fuel stabilizer weighs just 7.1 ounces. That makes it very packable, very lightweight, good for the solo backpacker, maybe 1 to 2 people, 2 people if all you're doing is boiling water. So the Jetboil Stash Stove Kit retails for $129.95 MSRP. I think that's a fair price when you're talking about sturdy, lightweight materials, especially now that I've been able to pull it out of the box and get my hands on it and really feel it's quality construction. A lot of times I find that these fold pot handles just don't do it for me. They don't lock in place quite right, or they feel unstable. This feels really strong for just being 7 ounces. This is a canister type stove, so that means it runs on isobutane canisters. That's the only fuel that it'll burn. As with many canister stoves, when you get into really lightweight, you start to sacrifice some features. So the burner unit does not have an igniter. It also does not have a fuel regulator. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for 4-season use, simply because without the fuel regulator and cold temperatures, it might struggle a bit. This type of stove, I think, works best if you're just making tea, coffee, dehydrated meals. The simmer control will lack a little bit, especially without the fuel regulator. It's really going to be best for just boiling water. And the 0.8 liter pot, which is slightly smaller than most stoves, canister stoves come with, about a liter pot, is really a good size for boiling water for dehydrated meals. So Jetboil claims a 2.5 minute boil time. That's for a half of liter of water, and we'll try that later. This pot does have the measurement markings on the inside, so you can clearly see the 500 milliliter mark, half a liter, or the 0.8 liter mark there at the top. All packed down, this little guy is about 4.5 inches by 5 inches, or 11 centimeters by 13 centimeters. That's with everything packed inside the stove. As I mentioned before, this guy's very packable, really lightweight. It's actually 40% lighter than the next lightest Jetboil product, which is really great for them to add this to their line of products. In terms of fuel consumption, the Jetboil stash is pretty efficient. You can burn the small 100 gram canister full flame for 74 minutes. And overall, I think that's pretty good for a canister stove. The Jetboil Stash Stove Kit is an all-in-one kit. It will work best with the included 0.8 liter pot, although Jetboil does say that you can use any cookware that you have, but I will say that it'll have to be relatively small just because these pot holders are not super large and it won't be all that stable. You'll want to make sure that you use the plastic fuel stabilizer, especially when that water starts to boil. You know, you're going to want to, if you don't use the stabilizer, you're going to want to make sure you have your hand on the pot or it could tip over. I do really like how this thing packs down. It's all in one. The pot stabilizer is part of the burner unit, so you know you don't have to keep track of a bunch of little parts. To put it away, you just put this guy right in there. You have your fuel stabilizer, and then, like I showed you before, the 100 gram canister clips right into the lid, and you can just put that right on here. One thing that I think is really cool that they thought of is under your fuel canister, they've actually included room for a lighter, and that's just by the design of the fuel canister itself. It has a little concave divot on the bottom. And yeah, and you can keep your lighter right here, all in one. Put that on, and you're good to go. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit the like button so more people like you can find it. Alright, so now let's put the stash to the test. I've gone ahead and filled my pot to the 500 milliliter line. Again, that's half a liter. Jetboil claims that I should get a boil in 2.5 minutes. Now, they don't specify testing conditions. I will say we are in the low 30s here today at roughly 8,000 feet, and it is breezy. So I guess we'll just put it to the test and see what we can do. I've gone ahead and attached my Jetboil fuel stabilizer to my 230 gram can of isobutane. Let's go ahead and attach the burner unit. Okay. And this is designed so the Jetboil's flux ring on the bottom of the pot will sit right in these grooves for extra stability. You're gonna go ahead and give it a light. Also going to attach the lid for this boil test. Turn the fuel on. And there we go. My first impressions are twofold. It's a relatively quiet stove, but I can already hear the wind blowing the burner around. So I'm curious to see how that will affect the overall boil time. You know, I'm noticing that there isn't a lot of radiant heat coming around the pot, which is good for safety reasons. It also means the flame is staying where it needs to, underneath the flux ring. You can sort of see the stove rattling around in the wind today. It's kind of chilly. We are just now approaching the 2.5 minute mark, so I think this is where, under ideal conditions, we should have a boil, but no boil yet. All right, you might be able to hear that. The water is getting close to a boil, rolling around to 3 minutes and 15 seconds, still no boil. All right, so I'm rolling around to 7.5 minutes, still no boil. Aha! All right, and there you have it. I've got a boil. But it took 8 minutes and 45 seconds. Now that's a far cry from 2.5 minutes. Admittedly, this is less than ideal conditions, but I would say these conditions are indicative to what I find in the mountains even on summer nights. Temps in the low 30s, moderate winds, and we're at 8,000 feet above sea level. To be honest, it's a little longer than I expected, even with the wind. Granted, if I were cooking for myself in the mountains, I would probably find a place a little more sheltered to cook than here. So now I've got the fuel turned all the way up. I'm going to start dialing it back and see what kind of simmer I can get. You know, that's better than I expected. I can hear the wind choking the burner a little bit. You know, for a stove that was designed to mostly boil water, I'd say the simmer is respectable. I still would primarily use this stove for making coffee or cooking dehydrated meals. Okay, so I wanted to come back and do another boil test for the Jetboil stash. Our first try, we got 8.5 minutes, but the wind was swirling, and I wouldn't normally boil water out in the open with high winds. The wind died down a little bit, and I wanted to do a second boil test. And we did, and what we got was 5.5 minutes, which is a lot better than 8.5 minutes. We shaved 3 minutes off that boil time. Still a lot higher than the 2.5 minute claimed boil time for half a liter, but still a lot better. I'd be curious to see how altitude affects this unit. Again, we're at 8,000 feet. So yeah, 5.5 minutes. All right, so just to recap, the Jetboil Stash Stove Kit weighing in at 7.1 ounces, excluding fuel and the fuel stand, is, you know, it's a really nice stove for, say, solo backpackers, or maybe 1 to 2 people if all you're doing is boiling water for coffee, making dehydrated meals. I like how lightweight the pot is. I like how sturdy the pot holder is. I don't like that it doesn't have a fuel regulator, especially because I'm often cooking in colder temperatures. For a lot of people, that's not going to be an issue, and they'll appreciate the savings of weight. This is actually 40% lighter than the next lightest Jetboil product. So a huge improvement in terms of weight for Jetboil. You know, I also like that they have packing instructions on the pot, just in case you forget how to pack everything back into the pot. I like that they have the measurement markings on the exterior of the pot as well as the interior. It's already cooling down, which I really like. Yeah, I mean, you know, I was boiling water a few minutes ago and it's already cooled to the touch. I like that the pot holder is integrated to the burner unit, not an extra piece to lose. I do have to say I was a little disappointed in the boil time. I boiled half a liter of water in 8.5 minutes. Not excellent. Granted, we were at 8,000 feet, temps are in the low 30s, and it is breezy. But overall, for the solo backpacker out there looking for a nice integrated stove kit that's going to save weight and save space, I'd say this is an excellent choice for you. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you don't know what gear to bring hiking, or maybe you've just wasted money on the wrong gear in the past, then you definitely need to get a copy of this book. It's called The Beginner's Guide to Hiking Gear, and we've created it with the total beginner in mind. It'll help you learn what gear you need versus what gear is just nice to have versus what gear you don't need. It covers everything you need to know, including how to choose each item and specific product recommendations based on your budget, gender, hiking destination, and more. You can pick it up on Amazon, and it's available in paperback and for the Kindle. Check out the link in the description below. Happy hiking!